Hello everybody, Brian Germain here. Out on a bike ride and it started raining. And so I found a relatively dry spot and I thought that it might be a good time to start this little video series that I've been asked to do, and I can feel that it's the right time for this. Time to talk about fear, and not just about fear of jumping out of an airplane. Time to expand that story a little bit more beyond what most people would call acute fear. But I think it's important to not separate our different types of fear, because ultimately, if you take it from a brain perspective, does the brain really know the difference between whether you're feeling adrenaline because you're about to jump off of a cliff on your first base jump, or you're worried about going into a public space and half the people aren't wearing masks, and there's a virus out there. It's legit. I think that's only one of many things that people are worried about, though, in their daily lives. Maybe you're worried about money, in your safety, right? Your ability to make enough money to get food and take care of yourself. That last lockdown was pretty scary. Now things are softening. Maybe it'll happen again. Maybe not so far from now. So what do we do with that fear? How do we negotiate it when the stressor, the thing that we're using as our excuse to have the experience of fear, it's still there, right? You're not out of danger as long as you're alive. There's the risk of dying. There's the risk of getting sick. There's the risk of running out of money and losing face, losing friends. Loving relationships are challenged, aren't they? Right now, big time. So what I would start with on that topic is recognizing that we're going to do a much better job of seeing things rationally if we can address the state of the body. There's many more steps beyond that, but you can't, sort of reach into your consciousness if your body is acting like a filter, and filtering out basically every reason you can think of that would make you feel better, and selecting out to focus on the things that make you feel worse. So it begins with the breath. All right, so let's talk just briefly about more efficient breathing. So when we get scared, we have a tendency to hyperventilate and hold our breath and breathe inefficiently. So when we realize that we're feeling bad, to take a moment, sit down, sort of become still, and inhale all the way in. And I notice that I don't do that when I'm really nervous, right? I inhale partially. So to breathe all the way in, hold for a moment, and then slowly let it out. Not just once, but many, many times, until you start to relax your muscles. You start to let your shoulders down. You start to relax your feet, relax your hands, relax the back of your neck, all the places that you store energy. Your body is sort of, initially it'll prepare to attack, to retreat, to hide and shake. That's just, basic human physiology. We're kind of good at that. But after a period of time, when we're still stuck in that fear state, it becomes very ineffective and it becomes detrimental. And it's not just detrimental to your ability to do those things, the fight, flight, and freeze responses that can be beneficial, right? Can get you out of trouble. But we also start to build up stress, over time when we collect it. And that results in lots of bad things for our body. One of the things is that the immune system starts to break down. We become weaker. And then if what we're afraid about is illness, now we've opened the door, right? We've opened the door for that to affect us in a greater way. If our stress is causing us to be kind of cranky and snippy and you know, kind of the dark cloud over your head all the time, and you're not looking for reasons to laugh. You're looking for reasons to snip at people. You know, it's Well, we have to address that, and I think that part of this is about the physiological aspects, and that's the beginning. Part of this is about having a commitment to state, I don't want to be scared. I want to feel powerful. I want to feel joyful. I want to feel loving. I want to share all of those emotions with everybody around me, everybody that I come into contact with, so that it can help make the world a better place, right? Either you're part of the problem or you're part of the solution. And right now the world needs solutions. We got enough fear going on. And so to make it really, really clear, don't just kind of have a fleeting thought that I wish to be courageous, but have a prolonged thought and say it out loud. You know, maybe you go to a place like this where, you know, nobody's around. I'm in the forest, kind of next to a beautiful stream, and I sit down and maybe I close my eyes and I meditate for a little while and I clear my mind, and I state out loud, I wish to be more courageous. I wish to be more courageous. All right? And there's lots of different ways to anchor that in, but saying it out loud with a commanding voice, it makes a difference. It shifts the energy. There's power to your voice. You know, you hear your own voice, and in my opinion, the universe hears you too. So to use the power of declared spoken intention can make a world of difference. I'm a fan of tapping, EFT tapping. I'm a fan of mantras. I'm a fan of people meditating. There's lots of different ways to clear your mind and then state what you want. Right? What do you want? What do you want to be? Who do you want to be? What do you want to be radiating? Right? And we think that our bad mood is something that's just inside of us and it doesn't affect us. Are you kidding? It affects everybody. There is a collective consciousness that all of us are part of. When you think of these trees, you know, that's a tree. Yeah, and that's a tree over there. Are they separate? Well, sort of. Yes and no, but they're all part of the same soil system. They're all, you know, connected to the same mycelium system that's part of the earth. They're part of this sort of life system on the planet Earth. And our human consciousness is like that we may feel separate as that individual tree alone. You know, I can be chopped down, I can be struck by lightning, or I'm part of a collective, supportive structure called the human conscious collective. And when we silence our mind, the ego mind, the separateness, starts to dissolve. And I'm not talking about the Freudian ego. That's a whole other trip. This is more on the sort of the Eastern side of things, or maybe the Buddhists would call ego, self. And obviously we all have an identity, we have a name, we have a history, a story, a drama. But beyond that, underneath that, is this root system that connects all of us, which is the commonalities that we're all experiencing fear. We're all experiencing love. And which end of that spectrum we choose to draw our attention to is up to us. It's up to you to command your attention, to choose what you're focusing on. And you know, I'm reminded last night, weirdest experience ever. These things happen for a reason, I guess. The way we figure, we were out on a bike ride, the whole family, and we pulled into the driveway for a moment, our own driveway. We're kind of doing stunts, jumping off the curbs and stuff. And Joshua was pulling in, and out of the sky, not making this up, we're guessing it was probably a raptor of some kind, probably an owl, had a rat that it had killed. and it dropped it. Maybe from the tree, maybe it was flying over and it slipped out of its talons. But this rat, this recently deceased rat, boom, on the ground right next to Joshua. Blood, guts, horrible. And Joshua was traumatized, as you might expect. And, for the rest of the evening, every time he had a moment of, sort of emptiness where his mind was allowed free to go wherever it naturally was gravitating towards, well, it went back to that traumatic experience. And you could see his face. He loves animals, and this was pretty horrible for him. And I reminded him that there is always the choice. I had to remind him a bunch of times to focus on things that make you feel better. There's nothing you can do about this. If there's something horrible that you can deal with right now, well, absolutely, you get in there and deal with it. There's nothing to do here, right? This is just a memory. It's already the past. And so now it's about directing the attention deliberately to things that make you feel better. And I said, well, maybe we should play some music, right? Maybe we should put on a fun movie. And people go, oh, that's wimping out. That's a distraction. No, that is conscious effort to direct your mind towards something that makes you feel a little bit better. And before you know it, that thing starts to drift into the past, further, smaller and smaller in your rear view mirror of your mind. And you begin to move on back into who you really are, right? That trauma was just a blip. Maybe it was a major blip, but it's already receding. And to help it recede, you got to cheer up. You got to find a way to appreciate life in this moment. And that might mean doing something, might mean action, right? Getting up and taking a walk, maybe smelling the flowers. In our case, maybe go pet some chickens. But I think we've all seen things that really shocked us. And we're having trouble, kind of scrubbing our mind's eye. We can't get it out of our heads. The knowledge that, this is technically a pandemic. Is it going to get better? I hope so. Is it going to get worse before it gets better? Maybe. Are you going to be one of those people that freaks out and loses it and you destroy all your relationships and you don't occupy the freedoms that you still have, right? Keep saying it, there's no coronavirus in the forest, right? On the lakes, on the rivers, on the oceans, in the sky. So there's ways to express your inner nature without taking ridiculous risk, right? So I continue to urge people to do the things that are simple, beautiful distractions. There's a lot of beauty out there. I mean, look behind me, right? I'm outside and it's drizzling and it smells wonderful. The lawn guys finally threw in the towel. It got quiet again. You could hear birds. That's the distraction that we need, is to get out into nature, because then you remember who you really are. You remember how beautiful the world is. And all the things that are going on that are the one thing that you don't want to think about. Oh, there's another one that I don't want to think about. It's too heavy. Well, there may be things that you have to deal with regards to those, to reduce your stressors, right? To reduce your actual risk. But if there's nothing to do, you have a job. You have a responsibility to your own consciousness and to everybody who your life touches, to find a way to tap back into your inner joy. Your ability to breathe in this beautiful earth, to hear the beautiful sounds of nature, to relax yourself again, and the fear drifts away. And it becomes just an experience that you notice, and then you let it go, right? Like a butterfly that lands in your hands, and it stays for a little while, and then it leaves, and you don't have to hang on to it, and you don't have to push it away. You just let it go. You let it go. And there, behind all of it, is your declared intention. I wish to be brave. I wish to be joyful. I wish to be loving. I wish to be cooperative and helpful. And as a result of that intention, sort of resurfacing again and again, because you declared it, you said it, this is what I want. You'll start to see it showing up more and more and more, and it'll be easier to keep your cork on top of the water, right? We have to force that cork back underwater if we want to be miserable. We have to point our attention towards the things that make us miserable. So make a choice. Make a choice to focus on that which brings you back to the real you.